Thank you, Your Honor. Would love a final if we get there. I could see why it might not. Um, the As far as what I have, so requesting the court to proceed in default. I don't have Ms. Osmus testifying. I think if she did, she would testify she wasn't able to find wages, but Ms. Cordero will testify to Mr. Pearson's employment, and will be requesting the court to use federal wage data. The federal wage data will show that the median income for a waiter in the Killeen Temple area is $10.91 an hour. I calculated Mr. Pearson's wages based on a presumed 30 hours a week. I didn't do 40 because I know the court likes to tread lightly when using federal data. So 30 hours at $10.91 by 4.3 weeks in a month. I have a gross monthly of $1,407.39. The testimony will be that Ms. Cordero does not have health coverage for the child at reasonable cost. So requesting $63 in medical and $244 in guideline child support. And this is one child in, no children out. My understanding is that Ms. Cordero is not requesting retro. And I'm not taking issue with that. As far as the possession schedule, I need to advise the court that Mr. Pearson, I believe, is on parole for injury to a child. The victim is Ms. Cordero's son. She has a son with somebody else.
Well, you just kind of took this to see to a temporary order, Mr. Diamond. So yeah, that alone will get an ad litem appointed to investigate and make recommendations going forward. What's in their client's best interest? Man, what ad litem is a lawyer that's been appointed to represent a child in the matter, and I'll let the state get some testimony from you about the father's prior convictions. But when I've got anything like that, I've got to get a lawyer's input as far as what's they would think the child would be to make sure the child is safe going forward, and you also. So, but I'll let the state proceed at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. If the court wanted to take a further look, but I could see why the court would want to let the ad litem do that. It's a Bell County case 22 DCR 86138. Was the case that which shows disposed on Odyssey. I think Miss Cordero's request is going to be for modified possession order. I think she's requesting 4 steps, 6 visits at each step, and I'm requesting non-disclosure.
Right then, I'm also looking at obviously sole MC versus and data possessory. All right, ma'am, I'm gonna let the state call you as a witness. We just do a lot of legal mumbo jumbo out here. We'll get some testimony from you, and ma'am, and I'll ask the state to confirm whether or not you had any type of protective order against this gentleman based on those prior charges, and whether or not there's still anything applicable like that. Because what I really am having to look at also whether or not you know if he's on probation or parole at this time. Thank you. So I'll let the state get those questions, and that will give me a path forward to what we have to do here. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Miss Cordero. Ma'am, will you state your full name, please?
Trinity Cordero.
All right, so let's talk about this. Who's the child that we're here on?
Malaya Cordero Pearson.
All right. Let's talk about her father. Do you have concerns with Mr. Pearson seeing y'all's child?
No, sir.
Okay. It's fair to say though you do have, and I told that you heard me tell the judge just a minute ago. Your request, as I understand it, is step-up visits, 4 steps, 6 visits at each level. Is that my understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's talk about the safety concerns. And I'm asking for non-disclosure, meaning I don't want your address or your contact information published. Do you have any issue with me making that request to the court?
No, sir.
Okay. Is Mr. Pearson a convicted felon?
Yes, sir.
What was he convicted for?
Entering my 4-year-old son.
Okay. Are you aware of it? Did he go to prison for that?
He went to
TDCJ?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and so my understanding is he's on parole right now. Is that also your understanding?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of any of the terms of his parole? I should say terms or conditions. One of the conditions is he's supposed to stay away from your son. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I think, oh, I'm sorry. Was there ever a protective order issued?
In 22, when the incident did happen, with his condition of bond, it did state he's not allowed around daycare, my home, or around my son.
Okay.
All right.
Um,
Anything else? Any other questions? I'm sorry. You may proceed, Mr. Diamond. I'm sorry.
no objection, Your Honor. I'll unless the court wants more, I'll transition to the wages and income part of this.
Please do. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So let's talk about the financial side of this case, Ms. Cordero. And I think you're muted. There you go. Do you have health coverage for your daughter through your work?
No, sir.
Would you be able to get health coverage through the marketplace at reasonable cost?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's talk about Mr. Pearson's work. What does Mr. Pearson do for a living?
He works at Hook and Reel.
And what's Hook and Reel?
It is a seafood boil restaurant in Killeen.
Okay. Has he ever told you what he makes working there?
No, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I would offer what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1, and with permission, I'll share my screen.
Right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, I'm showing you what's been marked as States 1. Ms. Cordero, do you have any objection to me? Do you have any objection to me offering this into evidence?
No, sir.
Okay, I offer States 1, Your Honor.
All right. For the record, please I'm sorry. For the record, please say what the item is. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. These are federal wage statistics. My understanding is May 2023 is the latest. And this is going to be for the metropolitan and non-metropolitan area, Killeen and Temple. And the document I'm showing the court is 2 pages. There were more, but I only printed the relevant portions. So it's the first page and then the relevant page. So I'm requesting the court to use federal job category 35-3031, which is waiters and waitresses. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's the offer, Your Honor. States 1.
All right. Stage 1 is admitted with no objection. And you may, I'll ask you to forward that a copy of this to Belinda, and I'll have it placed in the file. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. So Ms. Cordero, I'm requesting the court to use category 35-3031, which is waiters and waitresses. The federal government estimates wages of a server in Killeen Temple area at $10.91. Do you have any objection to me requesting the court use that number?
No, sir.
Okay, and I'm operating under the assumption that Mr. Pearson probably doesn't get 40 hours every week. So I calculated his wages off of assuming 30 hours a week. Do you have any objection there?
No, sir.
All right, so my total number to the court is $1,407.39 is the estimated monthly gross. And then I calculate guideline child support at $244, and I would be requesting the court to order him to repay. I'm requesting the court order you to apply for government medical coverage if you haven't already. If you have, you wouldn't need to do anything further. And then he be ordered to pay $63 a month. So sorry, that's a lot, but do you have any objection to any of that?
No, sir.
Okay. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. But you heard the court say that there'll be an attorney appointed to represent your daughter. Do you have any objection to me sharing your contact info with that attorney?
No, sir.
All right, I appreciate that. That helps to speed things up. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am. Again, I know you testified to how there was the terms and conditions of his bond about being around children and being around that child and all that other items. Well, if he's out on parole, there's probably some terms and conditions under his parole that I actually need to have introduced into evidence so I can make an appropriate order to set up how we're going to do the visitation going forward. Right now, ma'am, I'm looking at naming you temporary sole managing conservator, him temporary possessory, but I'm not going to give him any rights in the possessory conservatorship other than y'all can agree to by agreement until we come back what the visitation is going to be and whether or not, and I'll allow you to limit that until we get a final order to electronic visits, FaceTime visits, you know, that sort of thing. So I'll go ahead and grant that for right now. But I'm going to go ahead and appoint Mr. Maldonado Perez as the ad litem in this matter, Mr. Diamond, to go ahead and get us a copy of all his paperwork and showing what his terms and conditions are so we can cherry pick what we can do going forward. I do plan on giving him the break-in visits, ma'am. You just say you're not worried about him with the current child, but until I get something that's concrete, I can't give him the normal rights he would have as even as a possessory conservator until I see what his terms and conditions are, and double check a couple of things to see how even once the terms and conditions are up, he's still only allowed to be a sole possessory conservator, and see what other rights I still may have to restrict even after that. So, ma'am, I just said a lot of legal things to you, and it took me 30 plus years to learn all that junk. So at this time, ma'am, do you have any questions or anything you want the court to explain to you?
No, sir. I just wondering if I would be able to get a copy of what you had just said.
Well, you get a copy of the order, and everything I just said is will be placed into the order, and the state's going to send that to you to review and sign off on. Okay.
Okay.
I'll
Yes,
also
sir.
need your permission. I'm also going to need your permission to have the state give Mr. Maldonado Perez your contact information. In other words, your email and phone number, so he can contact you directly. I don't think he's going to do it necessary for him to come in and do a home visit because this is not that type of case. But if you know, if he feels like under Texas has rules that they lawyers have rules that they have to follow under Texas family code, and if he wants to come and do a home visit, he may let you know that and get that set up also. But for right now, based on why we're appointing him, I don't think that's going to be necessary. So any other questions, ma'am?
Sorry. So my daughter will be staying with me.
Yes, ma'am. You got sole custody.
Okay, because this court, and with what the last time I was in court, it makes me a little emotional and all that. So
Okay, I gave
I
you
don't
sole
want.
conservative, man, which means you got sole custody. I'm ordering him to pay guideline child support as estimated by the state going forward, and I'm doing this as a temporary order, ordering that to start the first day of April, and the child support amount and the cash medical amount the state's requesting. I'm going to go ahead and like I say, give you sole managing conservative, give you all the rights under that as required under the family code. And right now, I'm naming him possessory, but I'm not giving him any rights. There's a list that he's entitled to, but because of his conviction, he's not entitled to everything on that list. So I've got to figure out what those are. And at the recommendations of the ad litem, we will include what he's entitled to.
Yes,
So,
sir.
okay. But for right now, he's not entitled to any time. He's already paid you child support, but he's not entitled to any visitation that you do not agree on. All right. So if you want to restrict him to just FaceTime or electronic visits, that's fine. But I'm gonna have the state. I want to come back in about 60 days, and we'll set up a proper schedule at that point. But until I see a copy of his terms and conditions of parole and how long he's going to be on parole, that's the best I can do, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I understand.
All right. Any other questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Diamond. Anything else, sir?
Two things, Your Honor. The first, Ms. Walker is showing that Mr. Maldonado Perez is before the court on May 29th. So that would be
long enough. That should work. That should work. That's almost exactly 60 days out. In fact, that's a little bit more than 60 days out. So that'll be perfect.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll make sure the order reflects that. And then if Ms. Cordero could stick around so I can get her a copy of this order.
All right, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am. And if anything comes up that if something gets heated, something gets weird concerning the child that's before this court, you can contact the ad litem, and they have the power. Their attorney / guardian ad litem. They've got the power to file necessary paperwork for protection of their client. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Diamond get you back in the breakout room, and we're off the record, and we'll see you on May 29th, ma'am. Mark that on your calendar. Okay.
May 29th.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And again, Mr. Maldonado Perez's information, phone number, and addresses will be included in the order. Give him about a week or so to get in contact with you. He may be, last time I said something like that, it turned out the lawyer had a jury trial the very next week and wasn't able to contact the person for another 2 weeks. So it happens.
Oh,
All right?
no.
So, but yeah, he'll get with you long before May, though. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we're off the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm sending the invite to the breakout room now, Ms. Cordero.